I have hit the record button. You can go ahead and start.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Pam Walker-Smith, Project Coordinator in the Department of Procurement Services in the Applications and Support Unit. My direct report is Deputy Benjamin Ho. I've been an employee with the Department of Procurement Services for 34 years, and in my current position as Project Coordinator in the Application Support Unit, I am responsible for the City of Chicago's vendor database, the iSupplier portal, ensuring that our vendors have access to that portal, and any troubleshooting that I may have to do for that vendor if they have any issues in accessing the portal and getting through how to submit their solicitation. And that is why we have this fabulous eProcurement 101 workshop for our vendors, where we will go through the particulars of the iSupplier portal. Uh, when Before we went electronic and we were accepting paper solicitations, we were doing in-house in City Hall, a room on the 11th floor, public workshops. But now, of course, because of COVID, we haven't been doing that, and it's all virtual now, and I'll do the best that I can to ensure that you get all the information that I feel you need to know in going through the iSupplier portal. Now, this is a high level workshop, so I have to go a little fast so that we can meet our time requirements. So if you have questions, please write them down. And at the end of the presentation, as Jackie has stated, we will go over your questions. And so make sure that you write them down, because you may have a question that I really need to answer for you. Here. So for the agenda, what is eProcurement? Our overview. Accessing the iSupplier portal and the online bidding folder, how to register, how to view bids and solicitations, how to respond to a bid or a solicitation, and again, any questions that you may have. Our overview. E-Procurement is the enhanced city financials management procurement system, lovingly known to us in the city as FMPS. It's in Oracle, that applies web technology to the acquisitions and goods of services. The iSupplier portal is the full service resource for you vendors doing business or interested in doing business with the city of Chicago. The city's fully committed e-procurement contract type are commodities, construction, small orders. Coming on board this year, hopefully, will be professional services, aviation, and work services. In the fall, we intend to project vehicles and heavy equipment, because it's such a large contract that it's going to take us a little time to put together and then test. The City of Chicago has implemented the iSupplier portal online e-procurement system for all purchasing activities. As a registered vendor in the iSupplier portal, you'll be able to view and respond to bids and solicitations online. You'll be able to view your orders, payments, invoices, past and present. Update your company information in the vendor portal, with your contacts you can add, your addresses you can add and or change, phone numbers, and email. To assist vendors with the transition to the iSupplier portal and the online bidding process, the city developed the eProcurement microsite. It is your how-to manual for eProcurement. That web address is https://www.cityofchicago.org/eProcurement. I'm sorry, my things happened today. So I could use the arrow and now the arrow's not working. I brought up my presentation and it was a whole new software for PDF. So I just discovered that today. So I have to scroll to get to my next page. Sorry. The iSupplier Portal microsite and security. HTTPS, as you know already, or as you may know, that HTTPS is a secure website, as is ours with www.cityofchicago.org/eProcurement. Your information is secure. The city takes security seriously and ensures all information is encrypted. Again, as the protocol is HTTPS, just as in banking, be not weary if anyone other than yourself and the procurement specialist can look at your solicitation. Your bid is secure. First time vendor registration. Login and registration. Existing vendors, those with the city vendor number, you can click on a request for an iSupplier invitation button. This is located on the microsite. For new vendors without an existing city vendor number, click on New Vendor Registration. What is needed for vendor registration is a PDF of your W-9. It does request it when you are registering it. Before you hit submit, it states to attach a W-9. If you do not attach a W-9 to your registration will be returned to you requesting you to upload a PDF of your W-9. This, I can't see what you see. I'm not sure if you're seeing a whole page or not. I don't want to click a button and lose you or anything. I only hope that you can see this header page. It is the microsite to which I am speaking to. It is the iSupplier portal. The microsite's name is iSupplier portal. The orange ribbon is where you will go to find any information you will need to know. Home is the home page for which we are on right now. Login and registration is just that, how to log in and how to register. To look at current electronic solicitations, you will click on current bids and solicitation opportunities. Online training materials, that is your how-to guide. There you will see information which we will look at. We will look at that. Delegates is for our delegate agency departments, and help is just that it is a PDF of emails and phone numbers for you. Current vendor registration. On this page right here, we have a list of our existing sister agencies. Oftentimes I get phone calls and emails from vendors saying that they have a certification for or a vendor number for CPS or CTA or CHA, and that they were told that by either one of those sister agencies that if they had a vendor number, they can, if they currently have a vendor number with their sister agency, that they can use that vendor number for city business. That is not true. For city contracting business, you must have a City of Chicago vendor number. So we are not interchangeable. We are not collaborative like that, only with Cook County. If you have a Cook County MBE, WBE certification, that does transfer over and collaborate with the City of Chicago, but not a Cook County vendor number if you were doing purchasing with them. That is not a collaboration as of yet. So please be not dismayed that if you contact me and say that you have a CPS vendor number and that you want to bid on something for the city of Chicago, you're going to have to register. So that's where this button here, the orange button below existing City of Chicago vendors, you would request an iSupplier invitation because you currently have a vendor number with the City of Chicago. You could have a vendor number that you've had as long as I've been with the city, right? 30 years plus. But you're not an iSupplier vendor, and the solicitation that you're interested in bidding on is an electronic solicitation, as they all are now. No more paper bids. You have to request a supplier invitation. For new vendors interested in doing business with the city, you have to click on the orange button that reads New Vendor Registration, because you will be a new vendor. You've never done business with the city. Or whether, when I say done business, let me not be misconstrued. I mean, when I say done business, you've done business, had a contract, been paid by the Department of Finance for the contract that you have. You can, or you can already have a vendor number, but you've never done business with the city. That's when you request an invitation. For new vendors, they do not currently have a vendor number with the city. You must register at the orange button, New Vendor Registration. Current bid opportunity. Again, on the orange ribbon, the third button is Current Bid and Solicitation Opportunities. This button is what you would click to look at the abstract of, it's a photo of our current electronic bid solicitation. As well, previously, before we were doing electronic solicitations, there may be, you may be familiar with the page because that's where you would click to look at paper bid solicitation. Just a caveat to add to this, although we are not doing paper solicitation, we have contracts that are so large with drawings or just document material that the megabytes are too large for us to put into the electronic format. So we do post those documents in a PDF format in the paper bid solicitation place. I'll show you that. But the solicitation itself is electronic, and you must submit your bid electronically as well. If that occurs, where there's an electronic solicitation, but the documentation for that solicitation is on our paper bid website, that information will be provided to you, the vendor. Here, where it says non-electronic bid solicitation opportunities, that's all paper bid information. Not a bid, though, because we do not do any paper bid solicitation. But if the documentation is there, it will be noted to you, and you would look in the blue section here and click on that. And this is how that page looks. Paper bid solicitations and non-e-procurement. Current bid opportunity at the top. That is where you would click to look at our electronic solicitation, as well as beneath it, e-procurement bid opportunity. And below that is paper bid opportunity. And below that is the blue link that reads download the bid opportunities list. The bid opportunities list you may be familiar with if you signed up to DPS Alert, and every Monday morning in your mailbox, you'll have a new bid opportunities, what we call the BOL, the bid opportunity listing. for the list of newly added solicitations and those that have not opened yet but are soon to open. So this page here, current bid opportunity, is a caveat for you, the vendor, to look at electronic bids. And if you had to look at any paper document that was too big, too large to put inside of the electronic solicitation, you would find that documentation here up under paper bid opportunity. Now, pre-bid conference attendees is a very important matter for the vendors, I believe. I think so. Well, definitely, absolutely. When you are bidding on an electronic solicitation, you should attend the pre-bid conference if there is one. When the solicitation is prepared and there is going to be a pre-bid conference, it is noted within the solicitation of when it is and where it will be held. Oh, well, it's actually a virtual. We're not going outside. So it's actually a virtual pre-bid attendee conference. And what that does is what the pre-bid is, it informs you and the engineers of the using department that's letting the contract out, the procurement specialists who put the solicitation out for advertisement, the using department and its contract administrator, they are in attendance of the pre-bid conference. And its purpose is to go over the solicitation with the prospective vendors who are interested in the solicitation. So it's advantageous for you, vendor, to we strongly suggest that you attend the conference, especially if you looked over the PDF of the solicitation and you had any questions that you might want to ask about the solicitation, to attend the pre-bid attendees conference. Now, also for this page, what we are showing you is that oftentimes we get emails from other vendors and wanting to know how do they look at the attendees list, because you may want to know who else was in attendance at the pre-bid conference, or did they miss capturing your name? Did you put your name on the list as being an attendee? And who else may have been there as your competition in the same commodity that you propose? So you are able to see the pre-bid list by going to this area of Procurement's webpage, and it's down here in the blue section at what we do, and down here and over to the right, down to the bottom, is the pre-bid and the pre-submittal conference attendees listing, as well as all other information that is pertinent to our vendor community can be found here at what we do, and then at contract administration and over to the right, it's that list. And each link here up under what we do is a point of information to our viewing public, which would be and may be important to you. So that's how you find things pertaining to procurement services and the solicitation, as well as the takeout list. Now, the takeout list is the listing of vendors who took out the solicitation. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to bid on the solicitation, but they had an interest as well as you had an interest. And so once you click on the PDF of the solicitation, well, no, once you go inside of the solicitation, you gained your access into the iSupplier portal, you logged in, and you've looked at the solicitation, your name goes on the takeout list. It's automatic. Your name will go on the takeout list. And we give you the advantage to look at the other vendors who is also interested in the solicitation as you. Now, let's just say you didn't, you want to go and look to see who were the vendors who took the solicitation out. After you go to the drop-down menu that I showed you and you click on takeout list, this is the result that you will get. You will see over here to the left that you're at the takeout list. And here for this example, I searched by a company name. So you may not know the specification number of the RFQ. And well, it's not readily like in your face. But you know that, let's just use this example, FH Passion, you know this name, and they do the same thing as you. You can search by the vendor name, or you can search by the specification number, and that is how you will see who else is on the takeout list. And my results in the test that I see here, and just putting in FH Passion, that they are on the takeout list for 4 different specifications when that was. Now the e-procurement solicitation abstract view. When you click on the orange button on the microsite that we went through previous pages, this orange button is e-procurement bid and solicitation opportunity. It brings you to this page here, lovingly known as our microsite, as lovingly known as the abstract. And what the abstract is accumulation of all of our active solicitations. Some may already have opened and not removed from the list yet, but these at the front page are all active solicitations, have been advertised in the paper, and when is its bid going to be open, and what amount of time you have to submit your question. So from left to right, in reading the abstract, you selected, you know what solicitation you're interested in. So you see it on the abstract and you click on it. And the result here is the solicitation for 7317 for the Department of Streets and Sand. So from left to right, you have your department name, the event, which is our contract type, commodities. We don't use program model. You have your solicitation number, your specification number, your solicitation title. The title of the solicitation is always preceded with the specification number and a colon. Okay. So note that for every solicitation, that's generally a 4-digit number, and that your specification number will be longer. And it is always going to precede the title in e-procurement. The date of advertisement is the date that it hits the paper, it's advertised in the paper. The supplier response start date is the same day that it hits the paper. That means that you can log in and begin looking at the solicitation on the day that it advertises. The supplier response due date is the day that the bid is going to open. Protected markets, we use that when we're noting SBI, MBI, or target market. Our deadline for questions is very important, vendor. Whatever is the date that is for the deadline for questions, that is your last day that you can ask a question. And so that you know when a question or questions are asked by the vendor community on a solicitation, those questions are answered by the procurement specialist, and it creates an addendum for the RFQ so that the vendors can all be informed of what questions were asked and answered, and everybody would know at the same time whatever those questions and answers are. So it's very important for you to get your questions in, and when that addendum is written and a part of the solicitation, it changes the solicitation number. So right here, for our example, our solicitation is 7317. When the questions are answered and it becomes an addendum, it'll be 7317, comma 1 or comma 2, whatever, whenever it gets created by the specialist, and it must be acknowledged by the vendor in order for your bid to be accepted. So that's a horizontal view, and then below that is the vertical view of the same information. The event, which is terminology change in e-procurement, is the contract type. It could be construction, it could be work services, but for this example, it is commodity. You see your solicitation number, which is the RFQ number, the specification, the solicitation title. Solicitation title generally means the specification number. The date of advertisement, again, the response date and the supplier response due date. Bid opening, terminology change. That's what that is. When you click on the eyeglass where it says here, right here, document. Okay, let me go up. Here, I hope you can see. Where it reads document PDF file here, that does not work. It's just this is just a read for you here. Down here, right here, where it reads document PDF file, you click on this link and you will get a copy of the solicitation. And you can print it out and review it before you start to enter into the electronic solicitation. So our next slide is on once you have registered, you've been approved, and now you are ready to change. You changed your temporary password. You change your temporary password. You'll get an email from Workflow Mailer with your username, which is generally your email address, and a temporary password that you have to change. So once you've changed your temp, this is what your screen will look like. This is an Oracle base, and you'll know that you're in because it will read eBusiness Suite Apps Prod. You should have 2 folders. Once you log in, your 2 folders over to the left. Your 2 folders. One is City of Chicago Supplier Portal with Invoice Creation. The other is City of Chicago Online Bidding. Another thing, also, just right quick, when you attend a pre-bid or pre-attendees conference, the procurement specialist should also inform you of the same. Logging in, seeing your 2 folders, and how you are to enter data on the lines field. They should go over that with you at a pre-bid conference. So for this example, we are currently looking at the first folder, which is the City of Chicago iSupplier Portal with Invoice Creation. There you have 5 tabs. The first tab is Home. Your second tab is Order. That's all finance, anything related to payments and receipts. Invoices that you received, past and present, from the city. The receipts sent, you'll get are there. Shipments, orders sent. But the admin tab, my favorite tab, my most favorite tab, is the vendor record. Here is your vendor record. In the middle, in the white space here, is your organization name, which is your company name. Here is your vendor number, supplier / vendor. I'm old school, so it's been vendor forever. New school is supplier, same thing. This is your supplier / vendor number, and your FEIN number is visible, only to you though. Below here at organization, it gives you pertinent information, whatever it is that you may have submitted or want to upload into your vendor record. Your W-9 lives there. If you are speaking back and forth to the specialist and we need some information or something to be added to your vendor record, you would add it in the location for organization. Your address book. If you want to change your address, you can change an address. I highly suggest that you change your address in lieu of adding an address if you're no longer at the address that you see that's in the system. If you move, please change your address and not add an address. But if you have a different location, you have more than one, and you want to add that address. Let's say the address that we have in the database when you registered is not your remit to address, and you want to add a remit to address. You're able to do that. Contact. The contact directory is where you can add another person from your organization to have access to the iSupplier portal. So you can add a contact person there. You can inactivate a contact that may be there that's no longer with your company. You can inactivate that contact. Note that if you inactivate a contact or if you inactivate an address, you're going to get a message, because on the flip side of that, you could be inactivating an address that was up under contract, being your address was 120, it's called site A. We use alphabet. It's site A. And site A was 121 North LaSalle, room 806. And you moved and you did not change the address, you inactivated it, and then you added a site. That causes a problem for us because at finance, they know that your contract that you that's currently active is up under site A, and then you inactivated it because you can. And now we don't know who to send the payment to. So you're going to get a message that's going to tell you that. So read the message when you're adding and removing. Please read whatever message that populates when you do that to ensure that you are doing what is necessary, to ensure that what you are doing is not going to cause harm to you or to the city or cause, problems. You can inactivate a contact person who was up under that contract, right? Now, we're not talking about the site anymore. We're not talking about the address. Now we're talking about a name. There was an individual who was the contact person for contract 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they left. But their contact name is up under that contract. Finance is now ready to go make a payment because they've received an invoice. And so now they're ready to make that payment, and they need to send it to the contact name. We'll get an error message there if you remove the contact. So you must let the using department know who you're up under contract with, that your contact name is changing so that that name can be added. You can't add it to the contract in our system. We have to add it. So we must be notified that the name has been changed so that it doesn't hinder the payment processing with finance. So that's very important, but I'm going to add those to the slides for the future. Your second folder is where you're going to submit your solicitation. So right here, the data that is here is just speaking to your work list and the new folder. So your work list is kind of important as well here, right? Work list. That's where all your conversations going to be had at. Right now it's empty. But as you start having online discussions with the procurement specialist pertaining to the solicitation, if you have any, or when you submit your solicitation as a draft before you have an active status, that information is going to fall into your work. So at the main menu here, where we have City of Chicago online bidding, then folder, and then the next folder is sourcing, and up under sourcing is sourcing homepage. That's where you start to look for a solicitation that you're interested in bidding. And that's what this little slide here is, this screenshot is here. Once you go into sourcing homepage, this is how it's going to look. It's blank right now, but as you start submitting solicitations, if you have drafts, or if you have active, or if you have requires resubmission, that information is going to fall right here on this page, on your negotiation page. That's what it's going to open up. So log in, second folder, online bidding. Okay, so again, right now it's blank, but as you begin to submit your solicitations, that's what this looks like down here, all down here. Your active and draft responses. So I created a table legend for you. The response number is the number received when a solicitation has been saved. Once you go in the solicitation and you enter, you just look at it, you save it. Once you save it, now you have a solicitation number, and that's the number you're going to always go back to. It's your specific number for that solicitation. Response status, very important, guys. This is so important right here. You must have a status of active when you submit your solicitation. If you have a status of draft, your solicitation has not been submitted. You missed the error messages that was at the top of the page, the top of the solicitation page that you were on to submit. You hit submit, and if you don't see submit, if you don't see active in your response status and you see draft, you must go back in and look at the red writing that's telling you what you missed. Okay, your solicitation response status must be active. Draft means it's not active and you're still working on it. Requires resubmission required, that means procurement is trying to tell you something, or procurement is telling you something. We're not trying, we're telling you something. It's probably an addendum, it's probably a clarification, so you have to acknowledge it. When that happens, you click on your response number and it will be the first thing that populates. It's something. It's a clarification that you have to acknowledge by saying yes, or it's an addendum that you must acknowledge by saying yes. Very important area. Our supplier site, that's what we talked about. So you see here, this is pretty interesting. You see here, because you guys don't know, when you're registering your supplier, when you're registering, it has address name. We put an A there, but the vendors, they don't know that we are alpha driven. They put headquarters, the whole vendor name or something. That's what this supplier site is. It's really not a necessity, but it's part of how the program was written. Solicitation number, that's the number of the RFQ. Again, the title. Spec number precedes the title, the description of the RFQ. Type always is RFQ. Time left, it's counting down for you. It counts down for you. It's letting you know how much time you have before your solicitation is going to open. Please don't wait till the day of the bid opening to begin doing your solicitation, because you could time out, and then bids are open at 11 a.m. when there's a bid opening. 10:58, it's clocking down. By the time you click submit, you could be locked out. So please don't wait till the day that the bid is opening to think that you can possibly upload all the documents, answer all the questions, whatever it is pertaining to the solicitation. But begin your paperwork process early. Start uploading whatever documents you have to have, your EDS, your insurance, whatever it is that we're requesting from you in requirements, have those things. And then uploading so that you want to submit your solicitation and have it active before the day that it opens or many hours before the bid opens. Here, unread messages. This means that there's been an online discussion between you and the procurement specialist. Please do not contact the using department of the solicitation. Only speak to the procurement specialist in DPS. Now, responding to a solicitation. Here, this is where I looked on this here. I looked on the solicitation. I looked on the abstract. I found the RFQ number that I'm interested in. How do I get it in? How do I get it here in my box? How do I get it? You search for it by title, which is the specification number, terminology change, title equals spec, or by the second choice number equals the RFQ number. You put it inside the white box here, and then you hit go. Here is just an example of, I don't know the exact number of the solicitation, but I'm going to search for it by this number. So here in the example, we can do a fuzzy search. We entered the number 7, we hit go, and it results in 3 solicitations starting with the number 7. So you can also do a fuzzy search just in case you do not know what the solicitation is, but I know I saw it in the bid advertisement. I think it started with a 6. You can start there. Terms and conditions. So once you get inside of that solicitation, you must acknowledge it by selecting the box down here and then clicking on the accept button. And now you're in. So you have a header page. That's the first page. And the header page just gives you the information of the RFQ, and this is going to be your quote number. This is the quote number. You're going to be your quote number because you're in now. And here at requirement, down here, our list of, we're going to go through a few. We're going to look at a few. But this is the requirement that the solicitation, the contract specialist is just giving you information that, yes, we have some local bid, we have some preferences that are added to this specific solicitation. You may or may not be interested in, but they are there, along with our funding number, along with if there's any drawings, how long the contract terms might be, and what is the unit that is procuring this, which is commodity. Below that will be your list of requirements. There cannot be no white spaces unanswered. All of your white spaces here, from here to however long it goes. For construction, it could be miles. That's really not really miles, but it does get kind of long. For vehicles and heavy equipment, it's going to be kind of long. So there are questions that you're going to have to answer, yes or no. And there are questions they're going to say, have you attached this document? You know, you're going to, or letting you know that these things are required of you. So it's very important that you pay attention. Now look right here. It's blank. Note, if it's blank and you hit submit or apply, you're going to get error message. And that's what I'm speaking to. When you hit submit and you go back and you look at your response status and this is your draft, come back in and see what you've missed. Okay? Because there can be no white spaces unanswered. Now, important for vendor registration, you must have a W-9 or it will be returned to you. For solicitation, you must have an EDS number. You will certainly get an error message if you do not enter an EDS number there. Then you answer all the yes/no questions. You just read the documentation here or read the line items here and then answer yes/no. To add an attachment. To add an attachment, it's in the header tab, add attachments, and then you add attachment. Now, you want to precede your attachment with the specification number and just say specification. You don't have to say spec, but you don't have to. You can write the number 12345 : insurance certificate, EDS, signature page. What there are documents that are required. Whatever that document is that's required, you name it, but you proceed it with the spec number. And you can add another and add another. You don't have to apply to each one. You can just keep adding, and then it's going to ask you to apply. Your second tab after header is lines. And this is the meat of the solicitation here, because this is where you're submitting or you're entering in your bid price. So here, it does the math for you because the estimated quantity is going to always be there. Here at update, you can change whatever you entered. Your unit quote price will be right here. Save and save off. Okay. You can start entering information into the solicitation on the day that it advertises, right? But you may not go back in for 3 days because you have 2 weeks before the bid opens, possibly. This is hypothetical. So always pay attention to your response status. It should say draft. It's not going to say active until you have actually submitted it. But here in the example, it is clearly telling you what your quote number is, to what RFQ, and that has been saved as a draft. It's not yet submitted. Okay. Online discussion, very, very important. Again, this is where you have any question that you want to ask to the procurement specialist. It is done by online discussion. We highly suggest that you do it by online discussion so that it is a record of the conversation that you've had, not by phone, not by email. We strongly discourage that and highly encourage you to do it by online discussion so that it is record of the conversation that you've had with the specialist. Wonder what this warning is saying, that you have to acknowledge this amendment. Well, the specialist has sent an online discussion to the supplier, to the vendor, and is informing that this RFQ has been amended. So that would be an online discussion that you would definitely have with the specialist. So here we're just showing how you talk back and forth. New message. Here your messages are down here, pretty simplified, and that's how it will go. It's a new message or you're responding to a message. And again, see here is the you begin with the spec number and whatever is your subject. Type in the box and then hit send. Now this is when, again, I said before earlier, when there's amendment to the RFQ, you're going to get a requires resubmission. Resubmission required. That's what's going to be the status of that, of your response number. It's once the specialist has sent you, because they do send notice to those that are on the takeout list in e-procurement, the specialist does send notice to the vendor that there is an amendment, right? So here, when you go back into requires submission, resubmission required, that's what you're going to see right here, that the negotiation has been amended. You must acknowledge it by hitting yes. Electronic signature right here. Now, you're ready to submit. You see over here to the far right that the submit button is shadowed out. That's because you have to handle this business right here in the red circle. Normally, you would click the first box you see, right? You're going to check this box and enter your information. System doesn't want you to do that. System wants you to put in your name and your title, select the box, then hit submit. When you do that, it'll be highlighted. Once you do that, once you have entered your name, your title, check the box, submit is now highlighted. You can select it. You click it, you're going to get this, a confirmation of your submission. We did this for our vendor community so that they are ensured that your submittal of your solicitation is active and that it's not a draft. And it's confirming your submittal of your solicitation. So you'll receive that the next business day, this confirmation of a submission. If you hit submit and you look at your page at your quote number and you see your response status is active and you have not received this confirmation of submission, please contact the procurement specialist and let them know, because there could be a problem that we need to troubleshoot. Online training materials is your holy grail for e-procurement iSupplier. Here to the left is all things your first folder. Here to the right are all things your second folder. And everything that is written, you can click on that and you'll get a PDF. And if you click on the word video, you'll get a video. You can watch it. This is our help. So if you have any questions, or not questions, if you need assistance, please contact customer support at cityofchicago.gov, or you can call this number at 312-744-HELP. This here is our help tab, which is right here. Help is this page right here. I humbly like to thank you so very much for attending our workshop. I hope that I've given you as much information as I possibly could within my time limit. If you have any questions, I am ready to take them.
All right, thank you so much, Pam. It is, we have two that I have so far.
Okay.
And we will get through these real quick because it is a little after 3. So we want to get to the questions. Do you keep W-9s on file for the companies?
Yes, we do. The W-9 that you are attaching when you register, that W-9 that you are attaching is in your vendor record. Yes. Let me
Which,
add one thing real quick.
sure.
If
Go
you vendor have changed your vendor name, if you change your vendor name and your FEIN number changed, that's a new vendor record. Okay. We can't just change it. We're going to ask you for all kind of information. So it's very important that you do attach a W-9 because we match everything between the vendor record and what's on that W-9. So if your vendor name has changed, let's say you are a current vendor now, you're a current vendor, but your vendor name has changed and your FEIN number changed. We need letter on your letterhead and we need a copy of the new W-9s. If you are currently a vendor with the city and your vendor name changed, but your FEIN number didn't, we still need a W-9 with the new vendor name so we can change it. Okay, next.
Will you get a temp password for each bid you enter?
No. You get a temp password when you registering into the system. And then once you change your password, it becomes your permanent password for your login to Oracle. One password, one time. No passwords are required for every, no, that's like your software now. So you just log in with the user ID and your new password, one time.
Okay, that's all we have gotten as far as questions are concerned. I'll give a few extra minutes for any additional questions anyone may have. On behalf of the Department of Procurement Services, we want to thank our participants for coming on and sharing some time with us so they could hear this great information that Pamela has imparted. And we want to say thank you so much for that. And I want to thank Pam for imparting that information and giving us great information. And I think, Pam, you have one more question here. What if you miss the pre-bid meeting and the bid is due next week?
If you miss the pre-bid, you can, okay, if you missed the pre-bid and you want to see who attended the conference, the pre-bid attendees listed should be posted. It should be. I don't know. Once the procurement specialist gives it to us, we upload it. But it should be posted for you to see who attended the pre-bid as well. If the solicitation has advertised and you have questions, that would be the time to ask your question because questions were asked and probably answered at the pre-bid. So again, the pre-bid attendees listing should be published on procurement's website of that specific RFQ.
And I think that is going to be it for today. So I want to thank again Pam for imparting that great information and thanking the participants. And as I close out all the time, I say to you, stay safe, stay well, wash your hands, social distance, wear your mask, and get your COVID vaccine when it is your turn, which I believe it's everybody's turn now. So get that as soon as you possibly can. And we will see you sometime soon when City Hall opens back up. Thanks so much. Hold on one second. Let me just make sure.
Thank you, everyone. Be well, be safe.
Yeah, so I guess that's it. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Pam. You can take that down if you want.
Yeah, I